All right, what's up, everybody? We finally have a football game that has been played. It makes me so happy. It just makes me so happy. Even though the football game, it was rainy, it was ugly, it was particularly ugly. Like, I can't even express it. And that is a theme that we've seen. When the Lions have joint practice with the team, they did it a couple of times in the last few years. The preseason game under Dan Campbell is particularly crappy. That's just the way it works. They don't play their starters. They didn't play their starters all of last preseason, but they try and get the work in during the joint practice, so we really don't get to see much. But this game was particularly ugly. I think the rain had something to do with it, but it wasn't great. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to do a little stock up, stock down, and I'm going to focus on the offensive side of the ball. Stay tuned later for a video on the defensive side of the ball, little stock up, stock down, where I'm just going to choose a couple of players. I'm going to try not to overlap with what Chris did yesterday. I've been out a couple days, got sick in August. What is that? Must be COVID. All right, so it was, but feeling much better now and ready to get talking with all of you guys, talking some Lions football. So first, when we're talking on the offensive side of the ball, the guy that just popped to me, the guy that I need to talk about on this is Sione Vaki at running back. We've been hearing reports all camp basically that it's been this learning experience. And we knew it would be a learning experience because he's coming out of Utah after only playing, 6 games as running back, and he was a safety. Linebacker, safety, corner, whatever they needed him to play on the defensive side of the ball. That's what he did in college. In high school, of course, he played on both sides of the ball, but in college, he has been on the defensive side. So he only played 6 games. And I think it's he only played 53 offensive plays in college. So that's nuts to me. And or at least rushing attempts. He was a natural runner out there. When you look at what everybody else did, here's what I'll do. I'll give you the stats for the other running backs running behind the same offensive line, the same nasty offensive line that was going on. There's some stock down stuff on the offensive side. But Zonovan Knight, 6 carries, 12 yards. Craig Reynolds, 4 carries, 11 yards. Jake Funk, 4 carries, 9 yards. Jermar Jefferson, 5 carries, 9 yards. All right, I can do some math. That's 6, 10, 14, 19 carries for 12, 23, 32, 41 yards. That's 2 yards a carry, just over. All right, Sione Vaki, 4 carries, 29 yards. And what was more impressive about the fact that it was 29 yards was he took the first carry, all right? He took a handoff from Sudfeld for 9 yards. And you're like, oh, okay. He's got a little bit of that burst in him. He's got a little bit of that juke in him. And then the next one, it was a toss play, 15 yards. And what impressed me most was his natural vision. What impressed me even more than that was the burst that I saw. I talked about this on his college tape. He looked faster with the ball in his hands on offense than he did on defense. And that was 100% accurate when it comes to Sione Vaki when you saw him in the preseason game as well. The other thing that I love seeing is when he got into traffic with his 9-yard carry, he covered up the football. And you saw a guy trying to rip it out for the Giants. That's what he was trying to do. He's probably like, this guy's a new running back. He's not going to have proper ball security. Nope. Couldn't get it out of there. So Sione Vaki is my first stock up. And we always knew that he was going to make this roster. But you can only have so many wasted roster spots, really 1 or 2, if that. And we know it's looking like Manu's going to be a wasted roster spot this year, and that's going to be a stock down that we're going to talk about. All right, another stock up. Wide receiver Isaiah Williams. All right, undrafted, free agent, wide receiver Isaiah Williams. Okay, so when we look at this guy, he was, I believe, the leading catcher in the Big Ten, receptions in the Big Ten coming out of Illinois. All right, that's what we're seeing from him. All right, he's not overtly athletic or anything like that. When you look at his relative athletic score, it's a 7, which honestly isn't that bad, right? Like, that's not that bad, but really slow 40. But he has great agility, great explosion. So, yeah, and he's very small. But basically, yeah, he doesn't have long straight line speed. He's a slot ninja. That's what he is. So, he's one of these guys that, yeah, he's playing great. And I thought to myself, no, he doesn't have a chance to make the team, right? Because you've got Kali Freeman backing up Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. So he's backing up Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. That's all you need. You only need 2 slot receivers. Isaiah Williams is not going to be playing on the outside. Then you've got J-Mo that's going to take a wide receiver spot. But I think there is a world, especially if Williams shows that he can do some stuff on kick returns, punt returns, something like that. There is a world where this guy does make the team. He was targeted 4 times. He had 4 catches. He had 34 yards. He seemed to be at times the only Lion that could get open. And then when you think about the fact that the only other Lion wide receiver that actually looked pretty good in this game was Antoine Green, which is great. That makes me very, very happy. He gets a concussion, right? So when is he going to be back? I don't know. It's just more time for Isaiah Williams to show what he's doing. So I do think there's a world where the Lions, and I think Isaiah Williams firmly put himself in just one game ahead of Tom Kennedy, as much as I love Tom Kennedy. All right, but you can bring Tom Kennedy to the practice squad safely. I don't think that's a worry for the Lions. So there is a world where you have on the outside, you keep 3 receivers. Maybe it's J-Mo, maybe it's Antoine Green, and then maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones. And then on the inside, you keep those 3 slot receivers in Isaiah Williams, St. Brown, and Kali Freeman. All right, those are my stock up players. But there's got to be some stock down players. And the first stock down player is Nate Sudfeld at quarterback. Like, look, none of us, Nate, I love you. I respect you. All right? I do. I mean, the guy has found a way to carve out a multi-year NFL career without ever actually playing snaps except for kneeling down footballs, right? And he struggled. The dude looked like he was allergic to the rain. I mean, I've never seen a guy. I know when it's raining, like the rain can get in your eyes. It can be difficult, especially for wide receivers. I'd say wide receiver is the hardest position to play while it's raining. Quarterback, I get it too. Ball is slippery, coming out of your hands, all that kind of stuff. Nate Sudfeld's walking around like this the whole time. Like, oh, what's going on? Like, dude, you have a helmet on. There's not that much rain getting in your eyes. There's not that much rain. And his accuracy in the first quarter was absolutely terrible. Like, when I was watching him, I have to be honest with the assessment. I was like, I don't think this guy could play in the UFL. Like, it was really bad. I don't believe he is an NFL caliber quarterback. Now, when he came back in after Hooker got hurt, by the way, I have a special segment for Hendon Hooker at the end of this video. All right, when Hendon Hooker got hurt, he came back in and he was a little bit better. All right, but there you go. All right, my next stock down here's the deal. We knew this guy was a developmental project. We knew that it would be a year or 2. All right, but Giovanni Manu is simply not ready to play NFL football. He's just not. And so when you look at him, when he did connect on a couple of blocks, yeah, it's good. There's another time where a guy that probably weighs 100 pounds less than him brought him right back to the quarterback's lap very, very quickly. His feet aren't there. His hands aren't there. He kind of hunches over, kind of looks ogreish at times. It was not a good day for Giovanni Manu. That's just the way it works. By the way, did you hear me almost just call Giovanni Manu Ginobili? All right, Spurs. It still hurts, doesn't it? Doesn't it still hurt thinking about Manu Ginobili and the Spurs? It could have been back-to-back for the Pistons. Could have been back-to-back, 7 games. They get us. Still stinks a little bit. So, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. So it was a down day for him. I would say another guy, Colby Sorsdahl, wasn't up or down. He didn't have his best day. I just kind of hoped he'd be further along coming out of William and Mary. In year 2, I was kind of hoping for a big step, and maybe he still will. All right, I've got a stock up and down guy for you. All right, the stock up and down guy is Hendon Hooker. So absolutely showed what he needed to show. He made plays with his legs. He made some plays with his arm. He held on to the ball a little too long once or twice, but for the most part, got the ball out in good amount of time, seemed to have a decent understanding of the offense, getting off his first read, getting to the next read, all while doing it when the other 3 quarterbacks that played today did not look good in the rain. He put together a really good drive. Now, with that being said, slide. All right. Now, I love watching you truck dudes. He actually trucked a defender, knocked him on his butt, and continued to go for even more yards. He ended with 4 carries for 34 yards. And then he had 5 completions for 36 yards. Then he left the game with what we're hearing is an apparent concussion, I think is what they said it was. So that's great, but he got his bell rung. All right. So it makes sense that they would be sitting there. We also know that, there was other players that have been evaluated for concussion. Hopefully we're just being really, really safe with it. But he was taken off the field. So whatever doctor was there was like, nah, this isn't quite right. So there's your stock up, stock down, stock up, down for the players that we have on the offensive side of the ball. Stay tuned either later today or tomorrow for the stock down and up on the defensive side of the ball from the preseason game. But I do think we got to see some really, really good things. Just a quick injury update on the offensive side of the ball. Hendon Hooker, concussion. Antoine Green, concussion. Backup tackle Connor Galvin was carted off with a knee injury. He's going to be out. Okay, that's going to be it for him. And I believe that's it on the offensive side of the ball. So we got out of there with 3 injuries. Usually 3 injuries isn't the worst thing in the world. Unfortunately, they're to a couple people who are competing and are important to what's going on with the team. All right, thanks for watching. Good to be back. See ya on the next one. Bye.